What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the show. Today we're going to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Let's go. No watering this shit down.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you, dude?
Doing good, man. Feeling life right now. You know, I cannot complain. Not that it would do me any good, and in fact, it would do horrible things if I did complain. But you know what I mean. But
I sure as hell don't want to fucking hear it either, bro. I've heard enough complaining this week from people, man.
I feel you. But yeah, man, life's good. I'm feeling extremely optimistic about the future. I think I'm starting to put my energy out there, you know, into the world, not just going through the motions day to day, but
I can tell when I talk to you.
Yeah, man.
I can tell. I can see the change, man.
Yeah, man. Doing this shit is changing my life, bro.
Dude, yeah, it's awesome, bro. And like I said before, since we started this podcast, dude, every time I'm about to give up on something or not do something or go take a nap, bro. It was the other day, man. I was tired, dude. I had shit to do, and I'm visiting my nieces and nephews. She made me a cup of coffee. I was like, nah, I'm not going to drink that. I'm going to go home and sleep. And then I thought of the podcast, bro. And I drank the fucking coffee and went and took care of my business. Because, dude, otherwise, bro, I would have came home, I would have slept, and then I would have been beating myself up that night because all that shit that I needed to do would have been weighing on my head. You know what I mean? And I had a fucking amazing day. I ran into some great people, had some great conversations, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that's it. Like we talk about, it's that little decision, man.
Yep.
That little decision.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I same thing for me. Every time I got to make a decision, like, you know, putting out the message that we're putting out the energy we're putting out. It makes me rethink my decisions, and it makes me, it's changing my mindset, bro. Yeah,
bro. And it's like, I'm not gonna sit here and preach this to other people if I'm not living it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I say, we're going to speak my truth, dude, the whole truth. You know what I mean? And you definitely can't carry a message that you're not living, bro.
Yeah, true.
You know,
that.
It's not, it might work. You can go ahead and try to lie to people, you know, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
By the way, dude, I love all the positive feedback. Thank you everyone, man, for all the positive feedback. We love that. I appreciate it. And shout out to my nieces and nephews, bro. They're watching the whole show, bro. Shout out to Delana, you know, hopefully clip that, send that on TikTok, dude. And yeah, bro, I got some negative feedback, from somebody, you know, from my old life, bro, you know, and he's, what did he say on there? It was on my private page, bro. And he said, you know, who are you to, you know, tell people how to be successful, you know? And that's just like an example, bro, of people that define themselves and define others from their past and their whole life. Right. Like, he's like, man, we're not like that. Like, how, you know what I mean? And so I don't hold it against him. I did block him on my personal page, you know what I mean? But at first I was like, no, dude, that's just, you know, he don't know the new me, you know what I mean? And so all he knows is that, and that's all he thinks of himself, dude, you know? And he thinks that, and people define themselves on whatever their past is, you know? And yeah, so it was, it's okay. I guess if we got haters, it's good, bro.
Yeah. Number one, when people bring that kind of energy to me, there's some sort of insecurity coming out of that, right? Because why does it matter to someone so much if we're trying to, you know, send a message talking about our own experiences, right? Number two, you'll never see a hater doing better than you, and we need them haters, right? Yeah, everybody needs haters. Yeah, bro. That's what makes you great. Yeah. So, you know, so all the power to him, man. And, you know, from what we've seen, yeah, there's going to be people that disagree with us. There's going to be people hating on us. There's going to, you know, and everyone experiences that. But we've gotten, like you said, so much good feedback. Yeah, dude. And, you know, we've had people interact with us that are saying, you know what, that message hit me. Yeah. You know, see one of our clips and they're like, man, that hit me. That made sense to me. I love that, you know, and so, you know, we're still obviously trying to get into the growth phase, but the fact that people we don't know are reaching out to us and they're feeling inspired by the things we're talking about, it just shows that we're doing something right, man.
Yeah.
And so I love this experience. Like Carlos said, I love all you guys for supporting and watching. You know, it means the world to us, and it motivates us to keep going and motivates us to stay disciplined and consistent with this. And I got a shout out to my mom. She watches every episode. She loves it. She doesn't agree with everything we say, but she likes to have the healthy discussions talking about it. And I love that shit. Shout out to my mom, shout out to my son, and shout out to my son's mom, because they're all in full support of us, man.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And that's why I love doing this, man, because so many videos and like motivational speakers like got me through so many days. Yeah, I just went on a run this morning, dude. I was listening to these motivational speakers, bro, and I was like, dude, I want to do that for somebody else too.
Yeah.
You know, and what I like about this show too, man, is we're saying the shit people need to hear.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to say the shit that people need to hear.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Not fucking to make, worrying about everybody's feelings and watering it down, man. I'm sick of spending my whole life watering shit down, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So same thing, watching all these motivational speakers that I see who are doing the same thing, starting podcasts where they're talking about consciousnit and positivity and improvement. I don't know what the first video I came across was, but I know that it hit me to see that kind of content. And so I started a faceless Instagram page. It's not huge. I have a little over 1,200 followers or something like that. I started it back in October. And that's what inspired me to want to do a podcast, right? Because I see all these clips of people doing podcasts, and if they changed, if they touched me in some way, touched my heart in some way, and they touch other people's hearts in some way by the things they say, then we can say shit too that touches people's hearts, you know?
Dude, and that's making real change.
Yeah.
That's making real change, man. Yeah, well, I love what our topic is today.
Yeah. Me too.
It's going to be interesting, bro. It's going to be interesting, man. Yeah, dude, society's changed. You know what? I ran into my boy at the gym, bro, and he's he's an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? And we're talking about Christmas or whatever, and dude, he's like, yeah, I'm going over to the Louis Vuitton store to get my girl a bag, and he's like, yeah, and I got our big old gold chain. Like, dude, I respect that, man. Like that's how things should be. You know what I mean? We're meant to be providers, bro. And people say like money doesn't matter. Do you know how good that feels, dude?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Do you know how good that feels as a man, bro, to be a boss and be like, here you go, babe. You know what I mean? Or give your kids whatever they want, So when people are fucking saying like that shit doesn't matter, bro, like, dude, that shit feels good, man.
Yeah.
Success feels good to men.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in our biology to be providers and protectors, right?
Right.
I mean, men and women, from a biological standpoint, have different roles in society or in the world, and us, we're supposed to take care of people, man. Yeah. We're supposed to make people feel safe around us. We're supposed to make people feel loved. We're supposed to, provide that kind of an environment for people, and especially the women in our life, because the women in our life are special,
Right.
And they, when you have a woman in your life like that, she deserves to be pampered. She deserves to be provided for. She deserves to feel loved every day, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it goes both ways. She does certain things that you deserve, and you do certain things that she deserves. But I agree, man. We got to provide and we got to protect.
But it's up to the man to lead that. So, what happens is when a man's not in his masculine energy, she comes out of her feminine energy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like it's constantly, and she starts, women have to feel safe. Mm-hmm. Therefore they have to trust. So when you're a man and you don't do what you say you're going to do, boom, a switch goes off in them.
Yep.
And their masculine energy starts coming out.
Yep.
When they got to worry about the bills, when they got to worry about things, it takes their energy off.
Yeah. Cause they have to compensate.
Yeah. And so I definitely, like, it's up to the man to lead in that direction. If a man stays in his masculine energy, a woman's not going to come out of her feminine. you know, and society today, it's got it all fucked up, bro.
Absolutely.
It's got it all fucked up. But then here's the controversy. But then also you have all these women now that are boss bitches and they're this or that, you know, it's just fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be able to go into the workforce or shouldn't be able to, you know, provide for themselves, but it's best when a man can make that optional for a woman.
Absolutely.
Where it's a choice for her because she knows that if she doesn't go to work, things are still going to be all right. Right. And I understand we're all at different stages of life and not every man is in a financial position to be able to do that for a woman. But that's why you got to work on yourself. You got to get there. You got to take action to get there. And that needs to be a focus. So even if you're not in a position where you can fully financially provide, you may have a girlfriend or a wife and you know, you need her income as much as yours to pay the bills. Your focus should be on changing that. Right. So trying, you know, and even if it's not money, man, but just a man being in his purpose, having a purpose. It's not just for her, but for you too. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not fucking happy with yourself. You know, you can call it whatever you want to call it. And then, you know, and then women that say, oh, I don't care about money or this, that. I'm not saying being a gold digger, but I respect a woman that considers that when she's looking for a man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I respect that, bro. I'm not saying a gold digger because obviously, no, that's not good. But a healthy woman is going to consider finances. Yep. In a relationship, because that's what allows her to stay in her feminine. Right. And they say money doesn't buy happiness, but if you're in a relationship and there's money problems, there's going to be problems in the relationship. Yeah. There's going to be problems in the relationship. I don't care what anybody says. Money doesn't buy happiness, but you can't focus on being happy if you're stressing on finances. Absolutely. And yeah, money doesn't buy happiness. It buys the things that you need to create happiness. Right. And happiness isn't bought with money because happiness isn't tangible. It's not a service. It's something that you create for yourself and the people around you. Money is necessary, absolutely, in order to create happiness, right? And don't get me wrong, I understand you can not be, you know, super financial. You may not have money abundantly and you can still be happy. Right. But what's going to make you not happy is when you lose focus on continuing to increase the amount of money you have so that you can be good for the people in your life. Right. And so, yeah, it doesn't buy happiness, but it does provide the things that you need to create happiness. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I see it. Yeah. And so, ladies, don't feel bad for having expectations for your man. And there's other expectations that we're going to have for our ladies. Right. You know what I mean? But you can't look at a woman and say that she's selfish because she wants to be provided for or she wants you to be the breadwinner. Right. You know, it's how they stay in their feminine, and you don't want a masculine woman. We all have feminine and masculine energy. You need her to be primarily feminine energy in your life. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy either. Right. It's not fun living life with a woman who always feels the need to let the masculine side of herself out. Because that's when she feels that she needs to be dominant in the relationship. Right. She feels that she's not being led. She needs to lead. And then eventually that gets draining. It drains her energy. And then she's going to walk away. Yeah. And you can't blame her, you know, especially if you're someone who just decides you want your woman to be the breadwinner so you can sit around the freaking house and play video games. And, you know, you're not the one that's supposed to be home doing the dishes and watching the kids. Yeah, spend time with your kids, but provide for them. Don't expect your woman to go out and work and provide for all y'all. It doesn't. It's not going to feel good either, bro. Mm-mm. You're not going to feel good, you know? Yeah. Yeah, totally agree, man. This is something I think about a lot too, because in society today, we're so mixed up with it. There's people out there that believe that, you know, gender roles shouldn't be a thing. And I completely disagree with that. I think gender roles are necessary.
Dude, I trip out. And when people say, and I meet different people and they go, yeah, my partner. So they don't even call them like boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. They say partner. So I'm like telling this chick, I'm like, so you're gay? Is that what, you know what I mean? Is that what you're saying?
That's what it sounds like.
Your partner, like, what the fuck? When did we start calling each other our partners, bro? You know what I mean? But dude, it's all just a lack of knowledge. You know, there's this great book, man, that I read. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. And it's all about, have you read that?
I read it just recently.
Dude, bro, you did just recently?
I did just recently.
Yeah, bro, in the first 50 pages, I figured out where I went wrong in every fucking relationship, man. You know, when you read that, I'm like, oh shit, and that's what it was, man. You know, and it's masculine energy, not being in your masculine energy.
Yep. I had the same experience with that book. So much hit me about past relationships, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't being there.
Yeah.
You know,
and it talks about like when, you know, how it happened like back in the Vietnam War, when all the men started going to the war and the women stayed at home, you know, so this is an over time that this has happened, you know, in women's rights. And I'm not hating against women, man. I'm not hating against it, dude. The purity of things have been taken out of society, and especially relationships, the purity of women and the purity of men has just been awful, especially in America. And that's why a lot of guys, they call them the passport bros, dude, and they're going to other countries. You know what I mean? You don't understand it. You know, treat me like a king, I'm going to treat you like a queen. You know what I mean? You can have anything that you want, you know? And they don't get it. It's like, you know, man, I'm a peace chaser, bro. So like when I look for a woman, I want something peaceful.
Yep.
Not something I got to put up with. You know, that's
absolutely,
that's not fun, bro. I already got a chaotic life enough. You know what I mean? I need somebody to be my peace, not my problem. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's nobody's fault. It's just society, and it's just America, you know, and that's all that it is. You know, the divorce rate here is so high. I don't know what it is, but it's way higher than any other countries because there's no tradition left, bro.
Yep. And going back to money, finances are the number one cause of divorce.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why it's.
But we don't need money to be happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on, bro.
Yep. Yeah. And because we have it so messed up, you know, people are ending up alone and confused as to why that happened. You know, relationships are ending, and then you're just sitting around and it's like you don't understand why it ended, because it seemed for one person like the relationship was great, right? And because a lot of the time, and especially with women, they can be really good at continuing to give you love without being in love with you anymore, right? And they'll keep it going. They'll keep it going for a long time. Meanwhile, planning out in their head, man, how can I get out and make myself happy again? Yeah. And you have no clue as the man, right? And you're assuming that you're doing everything right and you don't need to do anymore. And the next thing you know, she drops a bomb. She says, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm not happy. And then she's gone. And you had no idea. It hits you quick. You know what I mean? And so, I think in most cases, you know, obviously there's exceptions where relationship was just really bad or whatever, but in most cases, she falls out of love slowly, has her time to plan it out because she's able to continue loving you without being in love with you, and then it's done. And then the man is completely crushed, completely confused, and what he probably doesn't realize was there was small things that he could have done differently to keep that relationship going. Right. And most of the time that has to do with making her feel safe, making her feel provided for, and, you know, just overall giving her a peaceful place as much as you need her to give you a peaceful place.
Right. And here's the other thing too, is that everybody kind of just jumps in relationships because, for one, they're not okay being by themselves. Right. So they'll just, because I've done it, right, and just take whatever the next thing is and ignore all these signs. Right. And so it's a lot of unhealed people, right, getting into relationships. you know, and then the battle begins, you know, and it's you won't love my unhealed self like I want you to love me. So I'm nagging. Now here's this other unhealed person. You won't love my unhealed self the way I want you to love me. Nag. So there's all these wounds that you're bringing into a relationship, bro. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but you're looking at that unhealed person to fix those wounds. You know how crazy that is, bro?
Yeah.
I had my friend just call me, was it yesterday or something? She's like, oh, I want to hook you up with my friend. You know, she needs to get over this dude. Do you know how unhealthy that is, bro? I'm like, do you hear yourself talking right now? Like, do you know how unhealthy that is? And it's nobody's fault, bro. It's just the lack of knowledge. Yeah. It's the lack of knowledge of your own wounds. So again, as I talk about it, you know, go inside, man. Yeah. And fix some shit first. Yeah. Like I refuse, bro. Like I will not be in another relationship, another fucking unhealthy relationship. Yeah. You know what I mean? I won't do it. You know what I mean? I won't do it. I just won't, man. Like I want to know what something healthy is, or I don't need to know it all. Yeah, absolutely. And similarly for me, I did have a relationship where I didn't know myself, and we've talked about it before. You can't know other people without knowing yourself. You can't be good for other people without being okay with being alone. Mm-hmm. And so, because my relationship with my son's mom started so young, we grew up together, you know, and so we both didn't have time to learn certain things. But when we decided, hey, you know, we're just growing apart, I still love you, but, you know, it's time for both of us to move on. When we decided that, we both got to know ourselves a little bit more, and all these things came to us, and we've talked about it before. And so, you know, it feels good to be able to talk to her about that and say, hey, these are the things that I see that caused us to have to, you know, kind of grow apart and split ways. And a lot of it was that we didn't have time to grow up. We grew up together without growing internally. And so you're absolutely right, man. Yeah, you got to know yourself to be good for anyone else. You gotta be okay with being alone before being with anyone else. And if you can be okay being alone and you do the inner work to get to know yourself, you can make yourself, you know, a blessing to someone else. But those two things have to come first. Right. And also, what can I do for the other person? Not what can they do for me? Absolutely. I mean, what can I do for them? Not what can they do for me? Yeah. You know? Yeah, dude. And at the same time, I think about it in past relationships, and was I in love? What is love, bro? You know what I mean? Because lust, right? If I base all my past relationships, good sex. Yep. Was the basis of it, right? Good sexual connection. But guess what, dude? You know, sex is only an hour a day. You got the rest of the day to be with somebody, you know? So, you know, I think that too, and I run back my brain. And then also, you know, you have kids with them, and then you stay together for the long, because I was raised in an Italian family where you never leave, you know? So I stay with my fucking 10 years, bro. Right. And you waste all that time, dude. You waste all that time by getting into an unhealthy relationship because you're not okay with being with yourself, and you waste all those years. Yep. And you waste their time. Yep. You know, so it's such an important decision about who you sleep with, dude. Who you sleep with and who you get in a relationship with. Like those are fucking major decisions, man. And if you're not in a healthy place in your life, you should not be making those decisions. Yeah. Yeah. And there's this whole like red pill community thing going on. And I don't disagree with everything. What do you mean red pill? So red pill is like, it's basically a community of people who are kind of like highlighting the fact that New Age feminism is destructive, and that, you know, it's a hard life relationship wise and sexually for men out there right now. That's the best way I can put it. I don't know how else to summarize it because I don't get too deep into it. But like there's some people out there that are kind of like the faces of the red pill community. There's a podcast called Fresh and Fit.
There's this guy, Rollo something. He's written, I believe he's written some books or something. I don't know too much about him. And they kind of preach this stuff. And a lot of what they talk about is good. So like, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking them, and Fresh and Fit, that podcast, people hate them because they think that they're just bashing on women, but they're really not. They're telling men, to be masculine, to be the man that women need. And they're telling women, don't be shallow. Because a lot of the time... Are you
talking about that one where they're talking at a table?
Yeah,
dude.
That's
and they have all those OnlyFans girls on there and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, I get that. And our worth has been brought down, and it is harder for men out there. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to do so much before. We were held on a higher standard.
Yep. They have this thing called hoflation. And basically what it says is that, let me say this right. Men who did half the amount of work a man needs to do today got women who are twice as, let's say valuable, twice as valuable.
I get what you're saying,
as their grandmother was, right? Or their grandmother was twice as valuable as them. I'm fucking this up.
No, but I get what you're saying.
So you get what I'm saying.
No, I know what you're saying, because I was going to bring that up about in the old days, it was a lot easier for men, and they were held to a higher standard, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so today in society's got it all fucked up. But it's not like that in other countries, bro.
No.
It's just America.
Yeah.
It's America that got it all fucked up.
And social media is a huge part of the reason.
Yeah, it's a part of it too. And that's also people looking at social media and then they're not happy with their current relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that and I want that. And look at this guy has that and all that crap. So social media, again, man, it fucked things up. But in other countries, it's not like that, dude. And that's why a lot of guys are going to other countries for women.
Absolutely.
And then Western women want to talk shit about that.
Yeah.
They want to sit here and talk shit about that. And it's like, dude, that's what I'm saying. The purity has been completely taken out of women also. You know what I mean? Like the purity, like kind-hearted, what's the fucking word? Brain farting now, bro. Caretakers. That's not the word. But anyways, nurturers. Yeah. Like nurturers. You know what I mean? They're not nurtured. They're just so like hard, bro. Like so fucking so hard,
Yep. And part of that goes back to what we were saying is there's a lot less masculinity these days. Men were way more masculine in the older days. Right. Now you have a lot of sensitivity out there. Testosterone levels are lower than they ever have been. And a lot of that has to do with the foods we're eating and shit like that. And so there is some side of things where, like you said, women feel like they have to be more masculine because the men aren't being masculine. But at the same time, going back to social media, there's what I like to call the comparison syndrome, where men, regular men are being compared to these other men that women are seeing on social media, right?
Right.
And so women look at these men on social media and they see these millionaires making content, and living the lavish life, and they think that that's what they deserve, right? And a woman may go sleep with an athlete and then they think that that's their standard for marriage, where really he doesn't want this masculine woman. He just hit it because he wasn't busy that day, Right. And the woman he's looking for is a lot younger and
less body count.
Yeah, less body count. And so these women are comparing what they're creating their standard based on what they're seeing on social media. And then they realize when they're 35, 40 years old, still single, working a job every day to survive, that, oh, maybe I wasn't deserving of that. When the man standing next to her, who she's shooting down, would provide everything he could for her and love her with all of his heart and give everything that he can to her. She says, no, because I deserve this guy that I'm seeing on social media. So like, I think the statistic is that women swipe right on 5% of men. So all the 100% of women are sharing 5% of the men out there, right? Because if they're all swiping on the same men, they must all be fucking the same men.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, and men swipe right way more because a lot of men are looking for, looks matter and you have to be attracted to the person. But there's a lot of men who finally hit an age and they're like, I want a relationship. And so I'm not just looking for looks anymore. And so a lot of men give women chances. Like it's worth it to, you know, give it a chance, to go on some dates, to try to get to know someone. But, you know, and we're talking generalizations here. So I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to generalize, but the world works on generalizations. That's how the world operates. So not every woman is this way. And there's a lot of really good women out there. I know a lot of really good women. Yeah. You know a lot of really good women. But we're just talking about in the grand scheme of things here, you know, what we're seeing in society as a whole. And again, what we're seeing on social media. Yeah,
and it's nobody's fault. It's just society. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is. It's just this bounce back and forth, man. You know what I mean? It's crazy out there. And there's a lot of single people out there. Yeah. You know, a lot of single people and a lot of broken homes, man. The tradition has just been taken out of things. Mm-hmm. Sucks.
Yeah. So I know a couple, and this couple, the woman in the couple was in a previous relationship and had one kid, and that relationship wasn't good for her because there was a lot of abuse going on and things like that. So finally she got out of that relationship, and that was really good that she did, because it was not a healthy relationship. He was not a good dude. He was not masculine by any means. But she jumped directly into another relationship again without fixing herself, without reflecting on herself, without getting to know herself. Jumps into another relationship right away. And the man's a bit older than her, I think like 10 years or something like that, 8 years, something like that, right? So he's experienced a little more of life, has a kid with him, you know, and he's a really good dude. And yeah, he's not rich, he's not super wealthy, but he'll give her absolutely everything he has to give, right? He treats her like gold. He treats her like his queen. But now she's decided that she never got a chance to find herself. So after marrying this guy and completely changing his life, and they worked together, so where they worked, he was in leadership, so he's not allowed to be in a relationship or date people who work where he works as part of leadership. So they got caught on camera walking in together, and they didn't realize, you know, I guess they just didn't realize they were like holding hands as they walked in or something like that, and got caught on camera. They tell them one of you guys has to quit. So luckily, you know, they were able to make that choice. So he quit, completely changed his life for her, you know, completely detoured his career for her. And now she's decided she didn't get a chance to find herself, so they need to split up.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? And so that really bugs me, because it's like, you can't keep bringing people into your life and into your family's life. You're making him a part of the family and then just ditching him because you haven't found yourself. And in my opinion, he's helping her find herself. She's going to have more trouble finding herself without him, in my opinion. So these are just a couple of people I know, and I saw this happen with them recently. And once again, it made me start thinking, okay, so why is she making this decision that she hasn't been able to find herself? Well, I think that it's because she's on social media all the time, and she's looking at all these dudes that are out there. So she decides, well, maybe there's something better out there for me. But I'm going to tell you, the grass ain't always greener.
Bro, and then here's the thing, man. And then they're going to go and complain later that they're a single mom. and they have to do everything themselves.
Yep.
Here's another thing, man. Take responsibility for the actions you took, right? So, you know, here's, and I love my single moms, bro, but you know, you picked a guy who's an ex-drug addict, or you picked a guy that's in and out of prison, and then you had a child with them, and then you want to sit there and complain to everybody how hard it is. You made that decision also.
Absolutely.
You made that decision also. You know, so it's constantly, I see this blame being put out there. You know what I mean? Like, you made that conscious decision. So when people are out there sleeping with people, like, they need to consider that, man. You know what I mean? So that's what it matters, bro. You know, who you're sleeping with, because having a kid is a whole fucking life decision, and that's that child's life.
Yep. And you can't just, that is wrong to just decide that, well, I'm over this and affect that child in that way.
Yeah.
That child grew up, was born and grew up having this man in their life, and you just decide, well, this isn't good enough for me anymore. So you're going to allow that child to be stuck without their father living in the home?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Selfish.
And don't get me wrong, if you're in an abusive relationship, if, you know, there's some aspect of the relationship that is causing you harm, I'm not saying don't leave that, but don't leave and affect your children in that way just because this isn't good enough for me anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
But it just has to do with being unhealed, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Now, flipping the script a little bit, you know, going back to men, you guys need to embrace your masculinity. Absolutely. As men, we need to embrace our masculinity. And yeah, there's that term toxic masculinity that floats around and all that. I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I just believe humans are toxic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but masculinity means providing, protecting, loving, being there, standing up and doing what's right for the woman and the kids in your life, right? It doesn't mean, you know, treating women like shit and sleeping with, you know, 50 women in a freaking month or whatever.
Right.
You know, it means being a man and looking back to, we don't necessarily have roles the way that we used to, but look back to the 50s, right? Look back to the 60s. A man could, on a single income, buy a house,
right?
You know, have a nice little truck, have a wife and a couple kids, and they were just fine. It's not that easy anymore, but if you look back to how men used to be, they were providers. So, and that's what I think masculinity is, right? Yeah. And so I'm not saying I've always been that in my relationships. I've made my fair share of mistakes. I think we all have it at times, right? But I did come to the realization that relationships I've been in could have worked if I was more masculine, right?
Absolutely.
And so I came to a point where I'm like, oh shit, masculinity is important. It's important. So if you're sitting at home eating freaking Cheetos and playing video games and you're up till 2 a.m. talking on your freaking headset and yelling as you're taking people out in COD or whatever it is, realize that there is more for you.
Yeah, and you're the cause of it.
Absolutely.
You're the cause of it. You're in control. You're the leader.
Yep. If you don't want your woman to leave you, give her a reason not to leave.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's a shame that men are shamed so much these days, but at the same time, we need to eliminate the reasons for which we're being shamed, right? Because just like I sounded like I was generalizing just now, men get generalized too, right? So a lot of you give us all a bad name.
Right.
You know? And so be masculine, work, you know, love, provide, protect, make the people in your life feel safe around you, you know, and go to the freaking gym, take care of yourself, be healthy, eat well, don't settle for being fat. People are going to get mad at me for saying that, but it's true, dude. You know, we all get comfortable being fat asses, and that's not okay.
Yeah, and poor me.
Yep.
You know, poor fucking me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why a lot of the women think that way and they look at men that way, because of all those men acting like that and living off their fucking, how the fuck do you feel okay with yourself living off your chick, bro? How the fuck? What the fuck are you thinking?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? You don't have any heart? You ain't got any heart, bro. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then here's, oh, you know, I'm not appreciated and this, then fucking leave her, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a fucking man and you're taking care of fucking business, then, and you're not leaving her, then you don't think well of yourself.
Yep.
You ain't loving yourself enough.
Yep.
You know, because you should fucking leave, bro. Instead of just staying in this relationship because I'm afraid to be alone. Right. I seen this dude at the gym and he's like, some dude I know from, I don't know where I know him from, bro. And he's like, yeah, man, I went through a divorce, bro. She got half, you know, but fuck it. At least I got a girlfriend. Like, what the fuck? He's defining his life over that. At least I'm in a relationship, so I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. You got to have some self-worth, man. And if you have some self-worth, you're not going to attract. You're going to attract something great. You know? So again, it's work on yourself, man. If your relationship isn't, bro, that's what I'm saying, dude. Is it love? Because half the time it's not love, bro. It's afraid of being alone. Yep. It's afraid of what everybody will think. Mm-hmm. You know, and dude, I know I was a man like that. I was defined. I'm a man because of how many women I sleep with. Oh, hey, bro, check her out. Oh, hey, check her out. I was like that for a long time, dude. You know, and I was defined by how many women that I could get or how many women I was sleeping with. Right. Come on, bro.
Right. I think that's insecurity.
Absolutely, it's insecurity.
And codependency will not only destroy your relationship, but destroy you as a man. And that goes back to being okay with being with yourself. Right. And that's, again, why we originally started with that, is because if you're not okay with being alone, then that means you're codependent on someone else or other people. And codependency for a woman is draining. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't have standards for your relationship. I'm not saying that men and women both shouldn't have expectations for the relationship. I'm not saying that you have to be okay with your woman going out to the club every night with her friends without you and just partying it up all the time while you have no idea what she's doing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's not okay to set standards, but I am saying that you cannot be so codependent that your wife can't go to the freaking store without you having some nervous breakdown because you have to be at the house alone for a couple hours or whatever. Because there's men like that where it's
is there?
You know,
that's pretty crazy, bro.
Like, you know, that might be a little exaggerated, but like there's men out there who they get depressed when their woman leaves the house at all because they can't even sit alone for hours.
It's because they don't have a purpose. Yeah. So when you're in a relationship and you're making it all about the other significant one, not about yourself and not about caring for yourself, bro, you're focused on them, you know, and you lose yourself in that way. Yeah. You know, it's fucking, it's crazy, bro. Right. You know,
and I think that the world is, I think that we can all agree that you look out into the world, you look out into society, or at least the Western world, things are fucked up, man, from a society perspective. Things are fucked up. We are messed up. We have depression and anxiety and mental illness all over the place. You know, we have all these issues with the economy. I mean, things are messed up, right? But, you know, and I think a big part of that is what we're talking about here, because we're not holding up to our part of the deal when it comes to running the world.
Well, you see, and at the end of the day, the solution to your relationships, to your finances, to everything, doing the inner work, bro. If you do that inner work first, all those great things come. That great relationship's going to come. Yep. You know, but if you're not healed and you're getting in a relationship, that's just how it's going to be. Or you're not going to be in your masculine energy. Yeah. You know?
And I want to clarify inner work for people because we talk about this a lot. So I want people to they've heard our experiences, but let's clarify that a little bit. Get to know yourself by sitting with yourself. Meditation is important if you want to get to know yourself. You need to be able to sit and just clear your thoughts so that you can understand who you are. Get rid of all the clutter in your brain and start to understand who you are. Start to be conscious of the decisions you're making. Start to be okay with critiquing yourself and how you're living. Start to understand that pride and ego will get in your way. Now, ego is necessary. You have to have some ego. You have to have some, pride in yourself. You have to be proud of who you are, but you can't let it get in your way of being able to say, hey, I made this decision and it wasn't a good decision. Because a lot of the time we're making decisions in life and we're afraid to say that we made the wrong decision. A lot of the time we have some mindset and we're afraid to say that we were wrong for thinking like that. You have to be okay with critiquing yourself. You have to be okay with understanding that you're going to realize certain things that you've been doing, certain decisions you've been making, and you have to be okay with saying, I was wrong and I'm going to change that. So just to clarify inner work, that's how I see inner work, is becoming okay with who you are, but always wanting to improve, and making sure that balance of ego and pride with humility exists within you.
I mean, absolutely, man. It's just being honest with yourself. Like your consciousness, like that's God, right? So like if you're honest with yourself, you don't have to ask anybody else what the right thing is. So if you're just honest with yourself, like you'll figure it out. But yeah, I love what you said, man.
Yeah, and controlling your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a part, for me, meditating is a part of that.
Yeah, because it's like a computer. You have to clear all this. We got all this trash, man. We got all this trash, all this hurt, all this pain, all these bad experiences. And we have to clear that out. And the only way to clear that out is to stop thought, right? So you can download and envision and bring in new things, new programmings.
Yep.
Right. But if you continue to sit there on social media and listen to the same people talk about the same negative shit, you can't start over that way.
Yep.
You got to clear all that shit out.
Absolutely. It's like your computer. The hard drive gets full. Can't download any more data. You got to clear that data out so you can download more. And that's how I see it with understanding how to control our thoughts. Look at thoughts as data and collect the data. And then when the data that's being stored is unnecessary, delete it. And collect new data, right? So I just wanted to clarify that for people because we talk about it so much, and it's kind of like the basis of what we talk about here, because it's the best way to improve yourself is to understand yourself. And so yeah, the going back to relationships, you do have to do the inner work and understand yourself in order to be good for someone else.
Yeah.
And you have to understand as a man too, when it comes to relationships, that your woman is going to be more emotional than you.
Right.
We have different hormones. We run on different hormones. And the hormones that she runs on is going to make her more emotional than you. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to understand that you're going to have to support her emotions sometimes. And you're going to have to understand how to make her feel okay with being emotional, because if she gets emotional about something, you start bashing on her, you start getting mad at her, you start getting angry because she's emotional about something, then once again, just like we said before, she's going to realize she can't be emotional around you. Then she's going to have to be rock hard, and she's not going to be able to be that woman that's going to feel safe around you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Read the book, The Way of the Superior Man. Because here's the thing, bro. It's like women are just how they are. And you have to accept that. You know, because men are like, why are women like this? And why are women like that? And why? Because they ran on emotions, dude. Mm-hmm. You know how they say women are liars? They're not liars, bro. They actually feel that way at the moment. So that's their truth. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just read the book.
Yeah. The book does tell you a lot. Yeah. It'll open your mind, man.
Yeah.
The Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah.
I forget who the author was. Do you remember who the author is?
I don't remember who the author was.
I don't either.
It's a powerful book.
But find it. Download it on Audible. Buy the book. Whatever you got to do. But I recommend all men read it, listen to it, whatever. I love that book, man.
Yeah.
It taught me so much about myself, and it taught me so much about my past experiences. Yeah. And it changed my life in a way that, you know, right now I'm at a time in life where, you know, I don't really want to be out dating. I'm okay with being single right now because I feel like there's a lot more work to do on myself, kind of like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take trauma into another relationship, right? And so I'm at that point in my life where I want to be single right now, and I think it's good for me to be single, and I think it's going to be good for the next relationship that I do get into, that I took this time to be single.
Yeah.
But that book has opened my mind to understanding a lot of what I need to take into my next relationship.
Yeah.
It just changed my life listening to it. And like, if you're one of those people that doesn't read, then listen. Download it on Audible because books are necessary.
Bro, books have changed my life, man. And that, dude, there's all this information in there, and there's all this fucking knowledge. It's like somebody who tried and failed and tried every single way and found out the right way, and they put it into a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Dude, if you're not reading books, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And again, if you're not going to read, if you think you don't have enough time to read, listen at least.
Yeah, audiobooks. I did Audible for a long time, man. Yep, I did Audible for a long time.
That's what I do now when I drive is I listen to books, and I listen to educational books. I'm not much of a reader that likes to read like fiction or novels or anything like that.
Stuff either,
you know, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but for me, I like to take in that knowledge that comes from like books that give me some sort of, you know, real world information.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, Way of Superior Man, saying it one more time to drill it into your brain, read it. It'll be good for you as a man to read that book. And women, don't give a man that book unless you're really secure with yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Because it will make him more masculine after reading it. And I lost my train of thought. Fuck, I was going to say something, but I'm going to have to remember it. Yeah. So, yeah, we can. These are good discussions to have, I think, because I think a lot of men need to hear it right now. I think that with mental illness that is floating around in people's brains these days, you know, I think a lot of men did go through a situation where their relationship ended abruptly and they weren't expecting it and they're confused and it causes some form of depression. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. One more thing. Is when that does happen to you, the best thing to start with to reinvent yourself is the gym. I'm just going to mention it. I know we talk about fitness a lot here, but and we've talked about how fitness affects your mental health, but for men, I think the gym is absolutely necessary. Yeah. I think it's necessary for everyone, but to be a masculine man, I think you should be going to the gym. Absolutely. Right? I think that you're
going to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So, you know, and these discussions are good. A lot of men need to hear this. I know that I was at a point in my life where I needed to hear this, and I found the content on the internet that taught me these things that we're talking about as far as masculinity, femininity, understanding women, understanding yourself. And I'm a changed man compared to how I was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and so I love putting this out there for all y'all to, you know, just reflect on what we're saying. You may not agree with everything, and that's all right. Disagreements are okay. It's okay to disagree and agree to disagree. But, you know, at least reflect on some of this stuff and understand that if things didn't work out right in your last relationship, there was a reason for it, and you have to reflect on that so things can work out right in your next relationship.
Absolutely.
You know? Again, we're on social media. Hit us up. Instagram.com/breakingboundaries, TikTok.com/the @breakingboundariespod, and hit us up on YouTube, you guys. Comment on our videos, show us some support and some love there. We're on episode 6 now. Already? We're on episode 6, so episode 5 will be out in a few days, and then the release of this episode will follow that. So we're on episode 6. Show us some love if you're enjoying this content and the discussions that we have, and hopefully we're helping you, because like Carlos said in the beginning, we're going to speak the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God, even if it offends y'all. But but hopefully it doesn't. You guys get something out of it. Hit us up, youtube.com/the Breaking Boundaries -pod. We're really trying to get this channel going. We're trying to get this content out there. And, and I've talked to some people that we've inspired them to want to get some content out there, because us just being average guys who have never done this till now, it just shows you just got to turn a camera on and start talking. So if you got shit to tell the world, turn your phone on. It's got a great camera. I promise you. Film yourself talking some shit to people, talking some positivity to people. I don't mean talking shit like negative, talking some positivity to people, showing love, putting that good energy out there. We love you guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Later. See you next week.